أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول حي على حي على حي على حي على الفلاح. الله
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيد المرسلين خاتم النبيين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. عباد الله، أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله وطاعته، وأحذركم وإياي عن عصيانه تعالى مخالفة أمره. My dear brothers, we begin by responding to Allah's invitation to us that He has commanded in Surah Al-Jum'ah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله. Which means, O you who have believed, when the call is made for the prayer, for the salah on Friday, strive to the remembrance of Allah. Note, Allah does not say here, strive to the salah. He does not say, fas'aw ila salah. Say, fas'aw ila dhikrillah. Or in Malay, wahai orang-orang yang beriman, apabila dipanggil untuk salat pada hari Jumaat, bersegerlah atau usahalah kamu kepada peringatan Allah. Allah tidak berfirman bersegeralah kepada salat, tetapi kepada peringatan Allah. this may be like a small difference. In fact, my Malay translation, in parentheses, فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, and then it says to the salah. But dhikr is much deeper. Because, and why do I say this? Because Allah Himself says that. In Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah says, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. Indeed, salah forbids indecency and dishonor, but the remembrance of Allah is even greater. Sesungguhnya salat mencegah keji dan munkar, tapi sesungguhnya peringatan Allah lebih besar. Dhikrullah is greatest because it is the primary commandment of our faith. It is the greatest because the opposite is the greatest sin. The greatest sin is to forget Allah. And Allah makes this point about the danger of forgetting Him in several Quranic verses. I will quote 3 of them. The first I'll quote in Surah Taha, verses 124 to 127. Because in this verse, Allah teaches us the relationship between remembering Allah and forgetting Allah. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى قَالَ رَبِّي لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي مَنْ أَسْرَفَ وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِ وَلَعَذَابُ الْآخِرَةِ أَشَدُّ وَأَبْقَى. Which means, whoever turns away from my remembrance shall have a life of tightness, of straightness, of narrowness. And on the day of resurrection, we shall raise him blind. He shall ask, Ya Rabbi, my Lord, why did you raise me blind when I used to be seeing? Allah will answer, it is because our signs came to you and you forgot them. So therefore today, you are forgotten. This, Allah says, is how we reward whoever is prodigal, does not believe in the signs of his Lord. The punishment of the hereafter is more terrible and more everlasting. In Malay, barang siapa berpaling dari peringatanku, maka sesungguhnya baginya penghidupan yang sempit, dan kami akan menghimpunkannya pada hari kiamat dalam keadaan buta. Bertanyalah dia, oh Tuhanku, mengapa engkau menghimpunkan aku buta, padahal aku dahulunya melihat? Allah berfirman, demikianlah, telah datang kepadamu ayat-ayat kami, maka kamu lupanya, dan begitu pula pada hari ini, kamu pun akan dilupakan. Demikian kami membalas orang yang melampaui batas dan tidak percaya kepada ayat-ayat Tuhannya. Dan sesungguhnya azab di akhirat itu lebih berat dan lebih kekal. In Surah As-Sajdah, Allah says, فَذُوقُوا بِمَا نَسِيتُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا إِنَّا نَسِينَاكُمْ وَذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْخُلْدِ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. So taste, Allah says, because you forgot your meeting today, we have forgotten you. And taste the eternal punishment because of what you did. Allah is saying here, He's equating, there's an equal sign here, there's an equation here, that we have forgotten you, Allah's forgetting you, equals eternal punishment. So taste, okay, Allah says, so taste, okay, maka rasalah pertemuan hari ini, rasalah kami melupakan kamu, dan rasalah siksa yang kekal disebabkan apa yang kamu kerjakan. So here the taste of eternal punishment, okay, ذوقوا إن نسيناكم وذوقوا عذاب. And in Surah Al-Jathiyah, Allah says, وَقِلَ الْيَوْمَ نَنْسَاكُمْ كَمَا نَسِيتُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا وَمَأْوَاكُمُ النَّارُ وَمَا لَكُمْ مِنْ نَاصِرِينَ. And it shall be said, today we forget you as you forgot the meeting of this day. So your refuge is fire and shall have no helpers. Dan dikatakan pada hari ini kami lupakan kamu sebagai kamu telah melupakan pertemuan hari ini, dan tempat kembalimu ialah neraka dan kamu tidak memperoleh penolong. So Allah's forgetfulness is not a lapse of memory. Allah doesn't forget like, oh, I forgot the name of my friend, or this person whom I met. No. Allah's forgetfulness is you're not invited to paradise. Now, you see, notice here the direct relationship between you forgetting Allah and Allah forgetting you. So there's a dynamic here that Allah is telling us. You forget Allah, Allah will forget you. Allah also says the opposite. اذكروني أذكركم فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. So remember me and I will remember you. And be thankful to me and do not be ungrateful. Ingatilah kepadaku dan aku ingat pula kepadamu. Dan bersyukurlah kepadaku dan janganlah mengingkari aku. So remembering Allah is the taste of paradise. Forgetting Allah is the taste of eternal hell. So now, what do we learn? We learn how important dhikr is, how Allah reciprocates our actions, remembering or forgetting, and therefore what's the task before the next task of our assignment? The next task is to learn how to enhance the quality of our dhikr, how to ensure that your remembrance of Allah reaches its objective. Now, the expression dhikrullah is ambiguous. It is not clear who is the rememberer, what we call al-dhakir, and who is the remembered, al-madhkur. Dhikrullah can mean Allah's remembering of us. It can also mean our remembering of Allah. But they are both linked to each other. They are both accurate. The great Maliki Faqih, Sheikh Ibn Ata'illah, was also the third Sheikh of the Shadili Tariqah. In his book Al-Hikam, which I strongly recommend to all of you to read, it's one of the greatest pieces of spiritual literature in our religion. He urges us to remember Allah and to be assiduous in our remembering Him, and to begin where you are the dhakir, Allah is the madhkur, is the remembered, where you are the remembered, until you reach the state where Allah is the dhakir and you are the madhkur, where Allah is the one who remembers you and you are the one who is remembered. When Allah remembers you, brothers and sisters, I assure you, you will feel it, you will know it. For when Allah remembers you, you are transformed. When Allah remembered Muhammad, what happened? The Archangel Jibril came and embraced him 3 times and commanded him to recite. When Allah remembers you, you will feel it. You know, in our culture, I come from Egypt, we say if your ears are whistling, somebody is talking about you. So when Allah thinks of you, remembers you, your experience will be much louder than the whistling in your ear. You will know it. You will feel it. And therefore we do this by emptying our hearts and our minds from all of the thoughts and the emotions of the dunya that course through us and distract us from being in a state of hadra, of presence with Allah, or what is called also by some others, ma'iyyatullah, to be in a state of togetherness, you know, a state of being dengan Allah. It's a state which actually our spiritual teachers have taught us about. So in this state of inner quietness and stillness, we open our hearts and our feelings to feeling Allah's presence. Because Allah's presence, brothers and brothers, is everywhere. Allah says in the Quran, فَأَيْنَ تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Wherever you look, there is Allah's face. It is in this state, brothers and sisters, that when you feel the presence of Allah, that you feel your heart doing a sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this state, we then say, نَشْهَدُ أَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَنَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. And what's important, brothers and sisters, to remember the quality of our shahada. Because the shahada is not black and white. There are many degrees of shahada, many qualities of shahada. There's a shahada of a hypocrite or a kafir like Fir'aun, who fought Moses and rejected Allah until he was drowning, and finally he said, as he was drowning, آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الله. I'm sorry, آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل وأنا من المسلمين. الآن, Allah says, sekarang baru kamu. So, yes, he said the word, but it's too late. Allah says in the Quran, he will lead his community in hell. There is the shahada of the child who doesn't know what he's saying. The shahada of maybe a beginner Muslim. The shahada of a abd, of a alim. The shahada of the angels. And the shahada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the basis of my saying this? Because Allah says, شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. Allah bears witness that there is no God but He, and so do the angels and those of knowledge, to establish equity. There is no God but He, the powerful, the wise. Allah bersaksi bahwa tidak ada Tuhan melainkan Dia, dan malaikat dan orang-orang yang berilmu untuk menegakkan keadilan. Tidak ada Tuhan melainkan Dia yang maha berkuasa lagi maha bijaksana. So brothers, when you are pronouncing the shahada, you are therefore performing an act that Allah and His angels have done and have been doing since before the creation of mankind. So in other words, do not think of the shahada as originally a human action. It is originally an act of God. It is a divine action that Allah is inviting you to join Him in saying. So the ultimate quality of your shahada is when your shahada reflects Allah's shahada of Himself. So my dear brothers and sisters, I'm sorry, I'm so accustomed to saying sisters, but I was told that sisters now because of the COVID. I urge you to strengthen your feeling of Allah's presence, your ma'ayyatullah, your presence with Allah. Increase your frequency of remembering Allah and the quality of your remembering Allah. Because remember, the quality of your remembering elicits Allah's remembering of you. Adhkuruni adhkurkum. So the quality of your dhikr of Allah, Allah will give you it back. He will reflect to you His quality of His remembrance of you. And remember that the Prophet himself, Allah says, to him he is a mudhakkir. And therefore the keenness of dhikr. And Allah says also, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. The Prophet is a perfect exemplar. Whoever believes in Allah, who desires Allah in the last day and remembers Allah a lot. So I urge you, strengthen your feelings of Allah's presence. May we strengthen your frequency of remembering Allah. And may we be among those who follow the examples of our Prophet Muhammad and be a mudhakkir and be in turn exemplars of uswatun hasana for our contemporaries and our successors. Ameen. Pray to Allah, my dear brothers and sisters, that He answer our dua. Allah Ta'ala astajib li wa lakum. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا كما أمر ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له المتعالي على المشاركة والمشاكلة البشر ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله النبي المعتبر واعلموا أن الله تعالى صلى على النبي قديما فقال تعالى ولم يزل قائلا عليما وآمرا حكيما تنبيها لكم وتعليما وتشريفا لقدرنا به وتعظيما إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن الأربعة الخلفاء السادات الحنفاء المميزين بعده بالرعاية والولاية والاصطفاء ذوي القدر العلي والفخر الجلي ساداتنا وموالينا وأئمتنا أبي بكر الصديق وعمر وعثمان وعلي وارض عن السبطان السعيدين الشهيدين القمرين النيرين سيد شباب أهل الجنة في الجنة وريحان به هذه الأمة الإمام أبي محمد الحسن والإمام أبي عبد الله الحسين وعن أمهما فاطمة الزهراء وعن جدتهما خديجة الكبرى وعن عائشة أم المؤمنين وعن بقية أزواج رسول الله أجمعين وعن التابعين وتابع التابعين وتابعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين اللهم وأيد الإسلام وأعل وانصر كلمة الحق والإيمان اللهم اجعل خير الآخرة وخير أعمالنا خواتيمها وخير أيامنا يوم لقائك وارفع مقتك وغضبك عنا ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا يا رب العالمين اللهم أصلح أحوالنا وبلغنا مما يرضيك آمالنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا وبالسعادة آجالنا وتوفنا وأنت راض عنا يا رب العالمين اللهم اهد ووفق رئيسنا الدستوري والسلطان سلانغور دار الإحسان لما فيه صلاح وفلاح للبلاد والعباد. أسأل الله العظيم رب العرش الكريم أن يغفر لي ولكم المسلمين أجمعين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم وأقم الصلاة.